Hi, it's Karen Gregorian. In this video, I will show you how you can have a website without a theme or any design whatsoever. Currently, this is possible on WordPress websites through a plugin I developed. In the future, the same format will be supported on other content management systems as well. This is what a website without a theme looks like. Actually, the user can change how it looks at any time. Check this out. And as a bonus, such web pages allow you to have visible connections to other pages, even to pages on other websites. Here's one example. You can even use visible connections to point to specific locations on images. But the main idea is that you, as a website owner, don't need to use a theme. Instead, you let your readers decide what theme they would like to use. Who is it for? I would say a themeless website is for you if you don't care much about design and perhaps already use a basic theme anyway. It is also for you if the idea of letting the reader decide how the content is presented makes sense to you. Another reason to use this new approach to publishing is simply to take advantage of visible connections between web pages. In that case, you don't have to change your entire website. You can remove the theme only from some pages. Now, let me explain how themeless web pages work. You see, currently, on a typical web page, you have content and styling. Content is provided by the writer. Styles are always provided by the owner of the page, who may also be the writer. But there is another model. The styles may be provided by the reader. In this case, the page would only have the content created by the writer, and we can give the two models their names based on who provides the styles. So, all regular HTML pages belong to the publisher's web, and the web pages of the new type will form what I call the reader's web. Technically, it looks like this. Usually, a theme is provided by the server, but on the reader's web, the theme is built into the browser, and the user can change it. Let's compare new web pages to the old ones. On the right, I showed a couple of regular HTML pages. Their design is defined by their owners. Different websites have different styling. On the left, you can see a few pages of the new type. They may be from different websites, but they look like they all use the same theme, and the user may instantly change that theme for all of them. For example, if the user chooses the dark theme, all of them will become dark. Here is another theme. How does this new web work? If you look at this scheme, it looks like for this to work, the browsers must cooperate. They should support the new document format, and they should provide themes the user can choose from. But this is not strictly necessary. The reader's web is functional today without browsers supporting it directly. Here is how you can think about it. Today is the year 2026. Sometime in the future, web browsers will hopefully start supporting the reader's web and its document formats. That will allow a simple solution for the reader's web. You know, the one where the server sends only content and the browser applies a theme. So, the simple solution will only be available to us in the future. But that doesn't mean that the only thing we can do now is wait. I have implemented a more complex solution that works right now, even though browsers know nothing about the new document formats. What's crucial is that both the complex and the simple solutions will give us exactly the same functionality. When we transition from the complex to the simple solution in the future, only the implementation will change. We won't get any new functionality. All the functionality we need on the reader's web we either already have or can add at any moment. We don't have to wait for anyone's permission to use the reader's web. Now, let me explain how it actually works. I will start with the simple solution, and we will pretend that browsers already support it. Then I will introduce complications that allow the reader's web to function today. On the reader's web, you can't just create absolutely any type of web page the same way you can do it on the publisher's web. But you can create web pages of certain types. There is more than one type of document on the reader's web, but in this video, we will focus on one particular type of web page. I call it a content page. Basically, it's a page that has an article. Such pages have a predictable structure, and they are very popular. You can find them on almost every website. I have already defined a new document format for this kind of web page. I call it HDoc, or Hypertext Document. It's not your regular HTML page. Here you can see that it has a different name in the source code. This new document type has HTML content in it in a special tag. That tag contains only the text of the article. You can't change the layout of this HTML content. It's just one column of text. All other information is provided as plain text in XML tags. For example, here is how the top panel is defined. It has the website name or a logo and a list of links. Here is the sidebar, comment section, post navigation section, and bottom panel. Usually, a page has a header. It contains the title and post metadata, like the author's name and publication date. Basically, such a page only has content and no information on how to style it. And this is pretty much the entire solution. The only problem with it is that browsers don't yet support this new document format. So, now let's move on to the more complex solution that works right now, regardless of whether browsers support the new document format or not. Perhaps the best way to explain this solution is to show you how I built it over time. I started with this. This is our new document format, but browsers don't support it. So, I developed an extension that knows how to work with HDocs. Now, if you open an HDoc, it will be rendered properly in a browser tab. The extension is not yet popular because the project was launched only recently, and I haven't promoted it in any serious way. But, as you will see, its popularity shouldn't be that important for website owners, because you can have all the reader's web features on your website, regardless of whether your visitors use the extension or not. Okay, now we have an extension, and some people can view HDocs. Great. The problem with it is that most people don't have the extension installed. That means that they will only see the source code of HDocs. Because of that, website owners may be reluctant to use HDocs in the first place. I needed to fix that. The solution is to have a hybrid format. It should be possible to serve a document in two formats from the same URL. So, I created a format I call Embedded HDoc. The idea is that you have a regular HTML page, but if it is opened with the extension, it gets transformed into an HDoc. If the extension is not installed, the browser will show the HTML page as usual. This is what the source code of such a page may look like. Let's say the content of the article is in this div. It just needs to be annotated with a special class name, so the extension knows where the content is. And all the other fields for navigation panels, comments, metadata, and so on are included in a special JSON block. Both of these additions are invisible to the reader. So, when the extension is not installed, the page looks unchanged. But if the extension is active, it extracts the content and all the additional data from the JSON block and uses it to construct the corresponding HDoc. So, now, provided that you use embedded HDocs and not standalone HDocs, you will never see a broken page even if the extension is not installed. The only remaining problem is that without the extension, people just see the original theme of the website, and features like visible connections will not be available to them. You may add a note to your page guiding people to install the extension, but that's not ideal. This is what can be done instead. Imagine another hybrid page, an HTML page with an embedded HDoc inside it. But this time, instead of using the theme of the website, we replace it with the reader interface, the same interface the extension has. Now, even people without the extension will have a similar reading interface, and they will even be able to see visible connections to other pages. One thing they won't be able to do without the extension is change the theme. Reader's Web promises a few things. It promises that website owners may skip selecting a theme for their websites, that they can use visible connections, that readers can control presentation. Let's go back to the slide with the complex and simple solution. The simple solution fulfills all those promises. But since we cannot start with the simple solution, we start with a more complex one. It turns out it also fulfills all those promises, but it does so separately for website owners and readers. Website owners have to install the plugin, and readers have to install the browser extension if they want to control the presentation. To summarize, we want to build the reader's web alongside the existing publisher's web, but browsers don't support new document formats yet, so we use HTML pages as a vehicle for the new document formats. Basically, we build the reader's web inside the publisher's web. If the reader's web becomes popular enough, browsers will start supporting the new document formats, and we'll be able to easily extract the reader's web from the publisher's web and place it where it belongs, alongside the publisher's web. In the meantime, we get all the functionality we need without having to wait. Now, let's see how to use the plugin. After you install it, go to its Settings page. Here you can configure all the navigation panels. I'm not going to go into the details here. Everything should be fairly intuitive. The most important settings are Page Mode and Post Mode. They determine what your pages and posts will look like. These global settings can be overwritten by the corresponding setting on each individual page or post. What display mode should you choose? It depends on what you're trying to achieve. If you want to keep your current theme, but also support the reader's web, choose Embedded HDoc Forced. If you want to replace your current theme with the reader interface, choose Reader UI. If you want to use visible connections only on some pages, choose Regular Embedded HDoc as the global setting. Then, on each page where you want to use visible connections, select Reader UI as the display mode. Now, let me address a couple of concerns you may have about using the Reader UI display mode. It effectively works as a new theme for your website, so you may wonder how it affects SEO and analytics. I made sure to populate all the panels, except the Comments panel, on the back end. Some search engines don't run JavaScript when they parse a web page, so it's better to have all the links on the page before any scripts start running. As for analytics, it should work as before. Usually, to collect analytics data, you add a script to the header or footer of your website. The plugin injects the header and footer information into any page that uses the reader interface. So, when it comes to analytics, pages with the reader interface are no different from any other pages on your website. Finally, you may wonder what happens to analytics when the browser extension takes over. After all, it removes the content of the page and constructs its own interface instead. The good news is that the extension can't stop scripts that are already running on the page. So, your analytics script will continue running even after the extension is activated. One important note about the future. If browsers eventually support HDocs natively, and websites start serving standalone HDocs, analytics will work differently. HDocs don't contain scripts, so traditional client-side analytics won't be available. You will still be able to track page requests, but you won't be able to collect the same kind of analytics data you can collect from regular HTML pages. If you replace your theme with the reader interface, I recommend doing one more thing. You don't have to do it, but I think it makes sense. Select this checkbox and save the settings. Now, if you go to any page on your website, you'll see a little button at the top. When you click this button, a pop-up appears. It contains an iframe with some text that briefly explains the reader's web and provides links to the browser extension and the WordPress plugin. The text comes from my website, so I can update it without releasing a new version of the plugin. Also, because it's an iframe rather than a link, it won't affect the search engine rankings of your website. Why is it important to add this button? Beyond simply informing more people about the reader's web, it completes the transition of your website to it. Without this button, you have simply replaced your theme with the Reader interface, which now serves as your new theme. And nobody knows why you've done it. The idea is to transfer the power to control presentation from the website owner to the reader. You can't control how many people will actually install the extension, and that's fine. All that matters is that you've done everything you can on your end. You've transitioned your website to the reader's web and told your users what they need to do to take full advantage of it. If you decide to give the reader's web a try and use the plugin on your website, send me the link. I'm going to put together a list of websites that support the reader's web. For more information about the project, visit readersweb.org.